Hello boys and girls, today we're going to talk about graphs. A graph shows data, information in many different ways. They are quick and easy to read. We are going to focus more specifically on a bar graph with this lesson. Bar graphs is used to compare data. So anytime you want to see something very easily, you would make a bar graph. So if you want to see how many people like pizza, cheesecake, and onions, you can tell that very easy by making a bar graph. So we're going to take a look at some questions and some ways that make you a better, more effective learner on bar graphs. So if I look at here, this bar graph is left to right. This bar graph is up and down. Both of these bar graphs do the same thing, say the same information. It's just a different way to do it. Okay? So when I look at a bar graph, I do two things. The first thing I do is I write the numbers next to the bar graph. So that would probably be the best practice to do. So I'm going to look at this and look at this line and write 35. And all I do is I look down, look up the line, and then I see where the red is ending. Same thing for this berry. I look down, go up the line, and this would be 25. Lemon, I look down, go up the line, and it's 40. And right here, I look down, go up the line, and that is 20. So now if I have several questions about this graph, I know my lines are 35, 25, 40, and 20. And then I have my information here. Okay? So questions that you might see. Which flavor snow cones sold more than orange, but fewer than lime? So we understand the more than. We have worked with ER words as well. So there's a couple things that you have to do in here. So you have to take your time and slow your reading down and make sure you read each part of the question and do each part. Okay? Remember, ER words are subtraction words. Okay? If we remember that, we'll be good with those. Okay? One of the words that we may see more often in bar graphs and pictographs and line graphs is or. Or means the same thing as this. Okay? So when they're trying to tell you and give you two different things, they may use or they may use and. Like for example, how many lemons or lime snow cones were sold? So now they want you to include both lemon and lime. I know it says or, but if you think of it as an and, you would add both of these up. Okay, so or and in this case would be adding. Okay, so we went through some of the questions. This one says how many more. We know what to do for that. Think about it real quick and see if you remember. And if you said subtraction, that would be the correct choice. Okay? So now that we learned a little bit about what to do when they're given to us, now we're going to learn a little bit about what to do when you have to make them. Okay? So in this case that I have here for you guys is one is already drawn out. They have the days and they have the numbers. Okay? They already gave the graph a title and they already did Monday. Okay? So we're going to do a couple here. So when you're making a graph, you always want to have a title, number of books sold. You want to have a label for your words. Okay? So when you have words on the side, or they might be underneath, you want to have a label. And this is simply days. Okay? They're not going to be long labels, but you want to have some kind of label for your words. And obviously down here would be the number of books sold. Okay? So use your data that is already there, and then just recreate your bar graph here. Alright, so let's do Tuesday. Okay, so when I look at these lines, when you're numbering, the corner is always 0, and when you're going to number, you're going to count by 2's. Okay, so each line is counting by 2's. You may see some graphs that count by 5's, you may see some graphs that count by 4's, but when you have to develop one, you're always going to start with 0 and then count by 2's. So let's look at Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday there's 9 books sold. I don't see a 9 on my numbers here, but I can kind of figure out where would 9 would go. So I'm going to draw my bar graph. And then I'm going to fill my bar graph in, and then write my number by number. Okay? And then Wednesday, I would draw my bar graph, color it in, and put the 3 next to it. Okay? So with the information provided, you can develop one very simply. Okay? Now let's start from scratch. That means nothing is given on the time, on the number line or bar graph. Nothing is given for us. We just have to do it ourselves. Okay? So we have some data over here. Okay? We can name our graph based on what our data is telling us. So we have number of students and type of pets. Okay? So we can kind of name this as votes for pets. Okay, we're going to put our numbers on the side. Okay, so that would be number of students. Okay, and then on the side here, remember what we start the corner with is 0. We don't necessarily have to write it, but we just have to remember that it's always 0. So I'm going to start numbering my numbers. Okay, and down here would be your pets. Okay, so now I have my data over here, and I'm going to count my data before I put it on the line here. So I'm going to count my data. So I have 5, 10, 15, 20. But this one doesn't have a line going across, so I can't count by 5. So it's 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I'm going to write 19. Here I'm going to count 5, 10, 15, 16. Here I'm going to count 5, 10, 11, 12. Here I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And here I'm going to count 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so our numbers go from 4 all the way to 19. Alright, so when I make this, I can choose whatever one. It doesn't have to be in the same order, but I'm just going to start with dogs. And then I'm going to put a D down here for dogs. Okay, then I'm going to draw my bar all the way up, come across, draw it all the way down, fill it in a little bit, and write the number on top. Okay, now my next one is cats, and notice the bars are not touching. Try to keep them separate from each other. So now I'm going to go up to 16, cross, color it in a little bit, and put 16. Then I'm going to come over here and do fish. Go all the way up to 12. Go across, color it in a little bit, write the number on top. I'm going to go to bird. Color it in a little bit, write the number on top, and put a B for bird. And then come down here for hamster, and go all the way up to 14. Go across, and fill it in, and put 14 across. Okay, so that's a scaled bar graph. I hope you guys all better understand how to develop one, how to answer questions about one, and most importantly is how to read one. I hope everyone has a great day and hope you enjoyed the lesson.